Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're bringing you this incredibly cinematic, truly epic manhwa explainer covering one of the most satisfying zero-to-hero arcs you'll honestly ever encounter. We're tracing the ultimate underdog story of a boy named Eren, famously known in his world as the Lazy Lord. Get ready, because we're mapping out every brutal training session, every single magical clash, and every emotional breakthrough right here. Okay, let's dive right into this, because this utterly absurd premise is exactly where our story kicks off. I mean, imagine being known across the entire land as an absolute failure, a total disgrace to your noble family, only to wake up one random day with the phantom memories of a man who swung a giant sword relentlessly until the day he died. Section 1. The 37-Year Dream. The Lazy Lord wakes up. 10 to 15 years. Just think about that time span for a second. That is how long Eren, a boy from the noble Farer family, spent doing absolutely nothing. After witnessing a really traumatic event as a young kid, he just shut down. He stayed in bed day after day, year after year, which earned him the highly embarrassing title of the Lazy Lord. The knights gossiped about him, the academy students relentlessly mocked him, and the world essentially just gave up on him entirely. But we have to contrast that lost decade with 37 years. Everything completely shifts when Eren starts having these incredibly vivid dreams. In them, he's this brooding, mysterious wanderer living out in a remote village. And this guy does only one thing. He swings a massive two-handed sword. Through rain, through snow, through old age, and a totally battered body, he swings it relentlessly for 37 straight years, until he literally dies on his feet. Eren wakes up from this feeling the phantom muscle aches, tasting the salty exhaustion, and having this overwhelming burning urge to pick up a blade.
And boom, so begins our epic training montage. Eren walks out of his bedroom for the first time in over a decade, completely shocking his family and the estate guards. He walks right past the standard, normal-size weapons, grabs a ridiculously massive two-handed sword, and simply begins to mimic that wanderer's technique. Following this brutal progression, he goes from struggling with his very first, completely exhausted swing to straight-up passing out. But then, he wakes up, eats these massive mountainous meals to fuel his recovering body, and gets right back to work. He pushes way past normal human limits, completely hyper-focused, slowly but surely gaining the perfect form of the master from his dreams.
Which brings us to Section 2, the Kronos Academy Trials, the Elite Academy. So where exactly does a kid go to test his new drive? Basically the Harvard of sword fighting. But the power gap when Eren first arrives is insane. You have Eren, a total beginner with absolute garbage stamina who's still getting mocked as the Lazy Lord. Then on the other side, you have the prodigies. Ilya, the cold genius from the famous Lindsay family. Brett, the arrogant but undeniably skilled noble. And Judith, this fierce, foul-mouthed commoner who pushes her physical limits every single day. Eren is completely outclassed here. In fact, he finishes dead last in their preliminary endurance run.
But then comes the midterm assessment. It's this brutal, multi-stage physical gauntlet designed specifically to break the trainees. We've got the push press, box jumping, long-distance running, and swimming. Literally everyone expects Eren to fail. Instead, he completely shocks the academy. He enters this crazy meditative state, executing perfect, rapid repetitions on the weights and box jumps. He moves at his own hyper-focused pace, totally tuning out the mockery around him, and he rapidly catches up to the top prodigies.
Now, this right here is what you really need to take away from this arc. It's what grounds Eren as a truly phenomenal protagonist. During the final swimming stage, Judith pushes herself way too hard and actually starts drowning. Eren is comfortably sitting in the top ranks, but he stops. He literally throws away a guaranteed top 5 finish and a personal reward from the greatest swordmaster on the continent just to pull Judith out of the water. Why? Because his loving family pulled him out of his own darkness years ago, and he absolutely refuses to let someone drown right in front of him. This incredibly selfless act catches the attention of Headmaster Ian, sure, but it also reveals a genuinely terrifying observation. Ian realizes that while the other kids show anger, joy, frustration, normal teenager stuff, Eren shows absolutely nothing. He acts like a really dedicated robot. His incredible willpower is just completely unnatural for a kid his age. Section 3. Escaping the Shadow, Finding His Own Will. So Eren is forced to confront a massive psychological crisis. What if he's just a puppet acting out a dead man's will? We actually learn about this through Lulu, a magical cat who introduces us to the concept of sorcery. Basically, it's a power where a person's willpower is so unbelievably strong they can literally change the world by themselves. Lulu senses the aura around Eren and realizes the willpower driving his sword swings is impossibly huge because it actually belongs to the 37-year trauma of that dead wanderer, not a 15-year-old boy. Trapped inside this mental space, basically a metal room with a giant iron door, he initially tries to escape by swinging his sword 6,500 times a day, relying entirely on the old man's phantom energy. But it totally fails. By day 624, he completely burns out. He actually falls right back into his depressive, lazy state. It is only by meditating on his own journey, the friends he's made, the family he desperately wants to protect, that he begins to understand what true motivation actually is. Eren has this amazing realization. The old man might have given him the initial push, right? But the sweat, the bleeding hands, the daily choice to stand back up, that was 100% Eren. He manifests this brilliant, glowing yellow aura all his own and completely shatters that mental iron gate, fully reclaiming his body and his willpower. Moving on to Section 4, the Demon Subjugation, the real-world test. Now that Eren has his own power, he leaves the safe little walls of the academy to join the Hail Kingdom expedition. And things get dangerous instantly. He's actively targeted by assassins who keep poisoning his food. He actually only survives that thanks to a magical detoxifying pendant from his family. But all that political backstabbing gets completely interrupted when a massive, roaring demon straight up attacks their camp. Eren doesn't hesitate for a second. Sensing the demonic energy, instantly he bounds right up the giant's arm, slices it clean off midair, and then unleashes this massive wind technique inspired by his aura training. He totally obliterates the demon, leaving a massive crater and just stunning all the veteran knights around him. It is a wildly cinematic, jaw-dropping display of his new power. But wait, there is a serious flaw here. Eren later faces off in a sparring match against Egnet, who is the top-ranked knight on the continent. Eren unleashes this terrifying, burning aura, but Egnet just easily swats him away. Why? Because Eren was fighting out of this sudden, blind rage whenever he sensed demonic energy. Egnet, on the other hand, fights with cold, calculated, absolute conviction. She knows exactly who she is and exactly why she swings her sword. Eren realizes his raw, untamed emotion is actually a huge weakness, and he needs to find his true center. Section 5. Forging his own path. Becoming a true hero. Okay, it's time to piece together the massive lore drop of our story. The wanderer in Eren's dreams finally gets a name, Kalen. Kalen was a man who tragically lost his family to a demonic jester. He isolated himself in that remote village, training for 37 years straight, allowing his absolute hatred to fuel him until he forged a golden aura, defeated his internal nightmares, and obliterated the demon. That phantom trauma, that's what Eren had inherited. And this brilliantly illustrates our protagonist's ultimate growth. Eren finally makes peace with Kalen's memory. He doesn't reject it, but he doesn't let it control him anymore either. He decides that choosing to fight, choosing to protect people, is a dream he carries in his own heart. He's no longer the lazy lord, and he is no longer Kalen's puppet. He is Eren. Real quick, let's look at the rest of the cast, because this isn't just Eren's solo journey. His insane work ethic infected everyone around him. Brett, the arrogant noble, actually learns humility and masters water element swordsmanship. Judith pushes her fiery limits, realizes she doesn't always have to be the strongest entirely on her own, and forms a genuine bond with Brett. And Eren, he begins combining focus, manifestation, and all 6 aspects of his training to start forging the ultimate aura sword. So, with the Academy having taught him everything it possibly can, Eren officially packs his bags. Alongside Lulu the magical cat, he heads west, diving headfirst into these gritty, highly competitive coliseums. He's stepping out into the much wider world, looking for new opponents, new challenges, and absolute mastery of his blade. Which leaves us with one massive, lingering question. Now that he's made peace with Kalen's memories and is right on the verge of mastering the unstoppable aura sword, who will Eren become next? He went from a boy who literally refused to leave his bed to a warrior shaking the very foundations of the world. It is a stunning journey, and it's so clear this is really only the beginning. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep your eyes peeled for whatever epic battles this hero takes on next.